Opposition parties have left a committee meeting in Parliament where a report on the Basic Education Law Amendment Bill was meant to deliberate on and be adopted. Well, since there weren't enough members to form a quorum, the vote didn't happen and that meeting's been adjourned. We're joined by the DA committee member, Baxolile Nodada. Mr. Nodada, good evening to you. Thanks for your time tonight. Firstly, there's been quite a lot of controversy around the discussions that concern this amendment bill. Talk to us about the perspective from your organization and some of the big issues that you've really been trying to raise.
Good evening, Kathy, and good evening to viewers as well. Look, the Basic Education Laws Amendment Bill is quite a dangerous bill that's been put on our table in Parliament in the committee. It's a bill that seeks to take away school government body powers and give it into the hands of the state, centralizing more power to the hands of government than the communities and parents that know what is best for their children. It seeks to centralize procurement of textbooks and other learning material. As you may know, what centralization has done in KZN, where it has left children hungry. The bill also seeks to invade homeschooling parents, and those particular communities are very concerned about the bill. And it's not addressing the real issues that we know in the education system. We still have children dying in pit toilets, overcrowding in classrooms, poor quality teaching, and the likes. So it was very important for us to make sure that in today's portfolio committee meeting, the portfolio actually adopts a report that is reflective of all the views of South Africans. It only analyzed about 26,000 submissions and left out about 9,500 submissions from the public. Our job and our duty is to be representative of the people, and when we consider views of the people, we must consider all of them. And that is precisely why today we thought that we need to raise these issues. And also, we had requested the National Treasury come present to us because the bill says it wants to make grade R compulsory. So Treasury needs to tell us is the money to make that happen so that we don't find our little children in overcrowded classrooms without a teacher in front of them or meal in school because it's not properly budgeted for. So this is quite a contentious bill, and that is why it was important for us to raise the issues we raised today.
Effectively, do you feel that the committee meeting had some success despite the fact that there was no quorum reached?
There was no success, Kathy, because we had to walk out of the meeting because the current committee members from the ruling party wanted to steamroll the process and adopt a report that had discrepancies, that hadn't analyzed the 9,500 views of the public in South Africa. And more than anything, the committee chair had committed to call National Treasury to come and present to us. The Parliamentary Legal Services were supposed to present to us so that we can see that the bill has no constitutional defect. And already we can see that by wanting to take away school governing body powers away from parents and communities into the hands of the state is already questioned by the South African Human Rights Commission. So it was important for us to get those reports before we even go into the clause-by-clause discussion of the 56 clauses that were proposed by DBE for us to consider in the education system. And that is why we said, look, they adopted the report without hearing members, without us asking questions and responding to the discrepancies in the report. And it was important for us to make sure that South African public's comments are not disregarded and just steamrolled because the ruling party's got the numbers in the committee. And we had to walk out with other opposition parties, and we left them without a quorum. And then we wrote to the chairperson to raise our concerns about the report having discrepancies, requesting that they call National Treasury to present to us on the financial implications of the bill, the Parliamentary Legal Services to guide us on any constitutional defects of the bill before we continue moving forward, because it will affect millions of young children and parents that want a quality education for their children in the schooling system. And if we steamroll it like that as representatives of the people, it means we're not doing justice to what is required of us.
Has there been any response yet to your letter?
My letter has been acknowledged by the secretary of the committee, and I did inform the committee, the chairperson as well, that I did write a letter to her. We also have written to Cedric Froelich, who is the chair of chairs, about the conduct of the chairperson today, wanting to steamroll the process, not following due process of parliamentary procedure, and more so than anything, us making meaningful contributions based on the submissions that were made by people. So there has been an acknowledgement of that, And tomorrow we will continue with the process and based on the requests that we have made to the chair in our letter.
Effectively, one of the big issues here would be around the consideration for that has been made to the committee on this amendment by the public. Of course, if that is still not considered tomorrow, that means that this particular amendment is likely to face contestation, even if that report does ultimately become adopted.
That's correct, Kathy, and that's precisely what we've been saying throughout the process as the DA, that we need to safeguard the process so that it's not challenged at a later stage. You may not like or agree with what the public is saying or other representatives of other parties are saying, but please make sure that the public participation process considers all submissions that were made by parents, by communities, by South Africans by and large, and not take the ones that you seem to support the bill because it's got a particular agenda to it. Because at a later stage, because you have botched the process and not made sure that Treasury comes and presents, the Parliamentary Legal Services gives a constitutional guidance on the process, as well as us adopting a report that has got a true reflection of every single South African who has participated in the process, then we are open to being challenged at a later stage as Parliament. And we can't be making those silly mistakes along the way. We are representatives of the people. We are legislators. We're entrusted to make the laws, but let's make the laws within the process, the right process, having considered all of South Africans' views. Those are the people that voted us in to be in Parliament.
All right, we'll leave it there for tonight. Mr. Nodada is with the Democratic Alliance.